Hey guys, so today we are doing inscribed quadrilateral notes in practice. So our inscribed angles that we've been talking about start on the outside of the circle, and then an angle is created and it ends on the outside of another part of the circle. Okay, so all an inscribed quadrilateral is that you have inscribed angle A, B, C, and D, and they all connect really to create a quadrilateral, which is a four-sided figure. Okay, one thing that we need to talk about, I'm going to go to the back and kind of show you some notes. So quadrilateral, obviously, we have our square. We have a rectangle. They all have 90-degree angles. Then you have a rhombus, which has all congruent sides. Then you have a parallelogram. We have a trapezoid. It does. And then you have just any irregular quadrilateral, any four-sided figure. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about are the angles. So if you have a four-sided figure, or if you have a square, you have 90, 90, 90, and 90. 90 times 4 is 360. The reason that all quadrilaterals add up to 360 degrees is because you can cut all of them in half, and they create two triangles. And if you have 180 degrees is one triangle and 180 degrees is another, together, the interior angles of a quadrilateral are always going to add up to 360. So it doesn't matter what your quadrilateral looks like, one angle plus another plus another plus the other is always going to add up to 360. So we didn't really get to the quadrilateral or the polygon unit this year. We've done a little bit of it, not a whole lot. But so knowing that all four of these angles add up to 360, there's something else about inscribed quadrilaterals. So it says if a quadrilateral is inscribed in a circle, okay, so it has to be drawn inside a circle, then its opposite angles are supplementary. And we know supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. So what that's saying is angle A plus C equals 180 because they are opposite of each other. And then B plus D add up to 180 because they are opposite of each other. Then that would mean our four angles are 180 and 180 would be 360 altogether, which I just told you on the back, all quadrilaterals add up to 360. So you can really tell with B and D here. A and C are a little closer, but B is definitely an acute angle. My bad. D is definitely an acute angle. B is definitely an obtuse angle. So together, those values it's possible that they add up to 180, and they do because they look like that. Okay, so we only have 4 problems to do today. They kind of go from basic to a little, you got to think a little bit more into all the things we know about circles, but I don't think it's going to be too hard for you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking here. So as soon as I look at, so for number 1, you have your inscribed quadrilateral. I personally see they already give me Y, and you're going to look opposite of that. And W is opposite of Y. So I know that angle Y plus angle W equals 180 degrees. Okay? Well, if you already know that Y is 51 degrees, you can do 180 minus 51, and you're left with angle W, which is, 180 minus 51 degrees is 129 degrees. And if you look at it, this is an acute angle, that is obtuse, 129 makes sense for that. So W is 129 degrees. Okay, so then some of you may be looking at V and X and how am I supposed to solve for V and X if I don't have one of the angles? Okay, so some of these problems you're going to start out super easy. The other ones, you've got to notice that you have some other numbers here. So they didn't just give you those to give them to you. You're going to use them. So you got to remember, we're still talking about inscribed angles. So I notice that angle X is an inscribed angle, and it opens up to this entire arc from Y to W. Let me use a different color. So arc YW is from here all the way around, and they give us those two measures. So 101 plus 67 is 168 degrees, okay? So then we know angle X is going to be half of that, because we can't forget about inscribed angles. Your inscribed angle is half of the arc that it's opposite from. So angle X equals 168 divided by 2. So 168 divided by 2 gives us 84 degrees. And we can look at it. That looks like it could be 84 degrees. It's close to 90, so it makes sense. Okay, I'm not saying that, oh, it's perfect, but I am saying that it definitely makes sense when you look at it. All right, and then last but not least, we know V and X are opposite of each other. So angle V plus angle X equals 180. We know angle X is, here I can put it on the diagram, it may help, is 84 degrees. So we're going to do 180 minus 84 is going to give us angle V. So 180 minus 84 is 96 degrees. So angle V is 96 degrees. And if you wanted to, you could go through, add these two up, they should equal 180. Add these two up, they should equal 180. If they don't, you know, you can go ahead and go back and figure out where you went wrong. So that's literally it. Most of you guys could go ahead and do 2, 3, and 4 on your own, and then just check your answers with this paper at the end of the video. And most of you will get it. If you get stuck, you can kind of come back and watch me start over from start to finish. But I think most of you are going to find this concept pretty easy. Okay, so looking at number 2, I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger, I think, for you guys. There we go. Maybe that helps. Okay, so here we go. So we have number 2. They don't give us any angle measures. Okay, so instead of looking at your angles, you're going to have to look at your arc measures that they give you. Okay, the first one that I notice, which some of you may notice things differently, okay, you can look at whatever you notice. I'm kind of looking at angle D. Angle D is an inscribed angle that starts at A and goes to C. It's this entire angle. So this entire, I think I said angle, this entire arc AC, is both of those measures together. So 39 and 61. 39 plus 61 is 100 degrees. Okay? If we know AC is 100, then the inscribed angle opposite of that is half. So we know this angle is 50 degrees. So we already have one. Angle D is 50 degrees. Okay? Well, then you have to look opposite of it. So we know B is opposite because it is literally across from angle D. And we know those add up to 180. So 180, and I think I need to write all this down for you guys. So 180 minus 50, you're left with B is 130 degrees. And B is definitely an obtuse angle. D is definitely an acute angle, so your measures make sense. Okay? Excuse me. So then we've got to look at A and C. We don't have either A or C, so we know we can't start inside with the angles. So then we're going to have to look at our arcs. Okay, there's a few ways you could do this. Angle A actually opens up to values that you are given. Okay, so angle A goes from D to B. So it goes all the way around from B to D. An arc BD, which actually it's a major arc, so it'd probably be, if I was doing it correctly, BCD. But it starts at B, goes also 61 plus 147. So 61 plus 147 is 208 degrees. Okay, so if the arc is 208 degrees, we know A is half of that, so we're going to divide that by 2. We're going to get 104, and I know I'm writing really small, but I'll go over here. So we know A is 104 degrees. Now, from there, we can subtract for C. So I'll write a little bit down. Angle A plus angle C equals 180. So 180 minus 104 is 180 minus 104 is 76 degrees is angle C. All right, that's one way to do it. Now, you can actually solve for arc AD. And let me get another color. So if we know this part, this arc is 39, this arc is 61, and this arc is 147, the only piece we're missing is AD. So 360 minus 39 minus 61 minus 147 is 113. So if this arc is 113, C is created from B to D. So that means this piece is 113 plus 39, which is 152. And we know C has got to be half of that. So let's divide by 2, and you get 76. So you could do this many different ways. You could also start with solving for A and C. You don't have to have B and D. So it is totally, these are kind of like, I know we've done a lot that I call them like puzzles in class. So this is kind of like one of those puzzles. Once you get one piece, you use it to find the next, and you can just go on from there. Okay, number 3 is actually pretty easy. It's just kind of throwing some algebra in there at you. So you're given T and V. They're opposite of each other, and it's inside a quadrilateral. So you know angle T plus angle V equals 180 degrees. And then you just plug in what you're given. You know T is 62 minus 5x. We know V is 133 degrees. And then you just solve your equation. You're going to put your constants together. Keep your variable. Don't forget that negative in front of that variable. So you have negative 5x plus 133 and 62 is 195. You want to get the variable by itself, so you want to subtract 195 on both sides. Don't forget to bring down that negative. If you forget the negative, then you're going to mess up here. 180 minus 195 is going to give you a negative. You need that negative, because if you don't, then you're going to get a negative answer, and that's not going to make sense. Divide both sides by a negative 5. So x is equal to negative 15 divided by negative 5 is a positive 3. Now be careful. On this one, the question was solve for x. Or, yeah, the problem that you're trying to do is solve for x. Sometimes, and I've noticed on some of the problems you do online, you put in your x value when it asks for something like angle S, or it asks for an arc measure. So just be careful about your questions. Just read them thoroughly. And then you can go and you can check here. So it'd be 62 minus 5x. So it'd be 62 minus 5 times 3 is 15. So that means this angle would be 47 degrees. And then these two should add up to 180. So 133 plus 47 is 180. So you can always go through and check and see if your answers make sense. All right, last one, number 4. This one you have to do a little bit more work because it doesn't give you the angle opposite of it. Be careful. These two angles are not opposite of each other. They're beside each other. L is beside O, L is beside M. The only one that it's not connected to is N. That's the one it's opposite of. And if you think about it, if you look at this acute angle, it's less than 90. If you look at M, it's less than 90. If you have two numbers less than 90 and add them up, they can't be equal to 180. So you have to have an acute angle with an obtuse angle. Okay, so we are also given this arc is 135 degrees and this arc is 91 degrees. So really and truly, we need to solve to figure out what N is, and we can do that. So N opens up from O all the way around to M. So let me get it. So starting at O through L all the way to M. So that arc OM is equal to 91 plus 135. So 91 plus 135 is 226 degrees. So we can find the inscribed angle because it's half of the arc it's opposite, or that it's created by. So 226 divided by 2. So this angle is 113 degrees. Now we have enough information. We know this angle and what it's opposite of add up to 180. So 100, or here I'll start with, my bad. I'll start with angle L plus angle N equals 180. That's what we're starting with. Angle L is 15x minus 23. Angle N is 113 degrees equals 180. Combine your like terms, make sure that's a negative 23. Plus 113 is 90, so 15x plus 90 equals 180. Get your variable by itself, subtract 90 on both sides. Divided by 15 is 6. And that was actually our problem. It said to solve for x. So that is, that is it. We started with our quadrilaterals. We know opposite angles add up to 180. We solved for missing angles here. And in 3 and 4, we use the same concept to just use some algebra and solve for a variable. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.